Hi. Welcome to my channel. I will tell you story. The title is The Four Horsemen, a talented illusionist group. Following a string of audacious heists that leave their audiences swimming in cash while emptying the overflowing bank accounts of dishonest businessmen, they are being looked into by a determined FBI agent played by Mark Ruffalo. The movie begins with J. Daniel Atlas exhibiting a card trick to us. Come closer. The more you believe you see, the easier it is to deceive you. Daniel is a Chicago street performer. He is depicted doing a card trick on a lovely young lady. The seemingly normal card tricks culminate in the side of the John Hancock Center reflecting his card in some way. The lovely female persuades him to invite her to his flat for sex. Nevertheless, before they can begin, he is diverted by the finding of a lover's tarot card. The writing card reads on one side, Merritt McKinney, a street mentalist and hypnotist, in New Orleans. At a restaurant, he hypnotizes the wife so she can't speak or move, while he enters the husband's mind and exposes him as an adulterer who is sleeping with his wife's sister through mind reading. Merritt then dupes the man out of $250 before hypnotizing him into forgetting about the incident. She hears her husband admitting that he cheated on her, but she immediately forgets what happened. A mystery hooded figure whose face is never revealed is watching the act. When packing away his posters, he comes across a hermit tarot card. Jack Wilder, a street scam artist and magician who entices people by wagering them money if they can figure out how he bends a spoon with his mind. One accurately guesses it, and Wilder rewards him, only to steal the guesser's money. He then escapes, and he finds a death tarot card into Wilder's coat pocket. Henley Reeves is a trained stage performer who works in a downtown theater. She concludes her performance with a water tank escape act in which she appears to be eaten alive by flesh-eating piranhas only to emerge alive and well in the center of the audience seconds after the water turns a gory red. As she's leaving, she notices a High Priestess tarot card floating in the tank. Each of the four street artists travels to New York City. Daniel and Henley are astonished to see one another because Henley is Daniel's former personal assistant. While Merritt and Henley are complaining about Daniel's domineering nature, Jack arrives on a date and presents himself as an admirer of Daniel. He can pick the latch of the apartment they were invited to, but no one is inside. They discover the schematics for some incredible machinery that they believe will launch them to stardom. 1 year later, the four magicians have formed an official troupe called The Four Horsemen. They're on stage at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. They vow that for their final performance, they will do something never done before on any magic stage. Merritt, Henley, and Wilder walk about with bowls of ping-pong balls, allowing the audience to choose. The man seated in seat B513, Etienne Forquier, steps up. Etienne announces over the microphone that his bank is the Credit per de Paris. Daniel notices Tressler in the audience and expresses the horseman's gratitude to him. Merritt briefs Etienne on stage, as Wilder outfits him with a teleportation helmet. Daniel then delivers Etienne a deck of cards and instructs him to pick a card at random. He then has Etienne sign his name on the chosen card, a red 2 of hearts. Teleporter, they instruct Etienne to ascend onto the platform. They then activate the teleporter, and Etienne appears to be transferred off the stage. Etienne takes a stand in the vault of his bank in Paris at the exact same time. He can communicate with the Las Vegas stage. Large amount of money in the center of the room. Daniel orders Etienne to place the card he just signed on the floor in the middle of the money pile. He then instructs Etienne to activate a button on the side of his helmet. The button opens an air duct, sucking up the entire amount of money. Bank staff arriving for work at that bank unlock the vault to find it empty, with only the card and ticket stub on the floor. Meanwhile, their cash is being lavished on the Las Vegas population. Theft is investigated by FBI agent Dylan Rhodes, who is teamed with Interpol agent Alma Dre. Alma has previously ruled out interrogation, but Dylan intends to conduct the interviews himself. Etienne maintains on his innocence and honestly believes he was transferred to France, but it is soon proven he had been hypnotized, because Etienne suddenly acts like he's in a Philharmonic orchestra upon hearing Dylan say the word. They conduct separate interviews with each of the four horsemen without learning much. While aboard, Henley, magically, spins her opposite chair. Merritt teases them by assuming chemistry between the two spies who have just met. He also informs Dylan that he has a lot of daddy issues with him. As they meet with Daniel, he plays a prank on Dylan by putting his cuffs on him instead and hiding the key inside Alma's unopened Coke can. Daniel teaches them the first magic rule: always be the smartest person in the room. Since the police are unable to apprehend them because the only explanation for the theft is magic, they are obliged to release their suspects. An officer approaches him and enthusiastically informs him that one of the audience members was Thaddeus Bradley, an ex-magician who makes money by revealing the secrets behind other magicians' tricks. Thaddeus had actually recorded the show and figured out how the heist was carried out. Dylan then visits Thaddeus, who makes his riches by cheating magicians on his reality show. Thaddeus brings Dylan and Alma to the Vegas stage and explains how the horsemen performed the feat, where he puts Dylan in the shoes of a volunteer audience member and describes how the man was transported to Paris. There was a trap door beneath the stage that led to a replica of the French bank vault. They had earlier intercepted the bank truck and replaced it with a stack of dummy cash made of magician's flash paper. Finally, on the night of the performance, they activated the dummy cash. Etienne was not chosen at random, either. The magicians, which they substituted for the ones drawn from the bowls. The four horsemen had stolen the money weeks ago and duped the audience into thinking it happened in real time. Thaddeus tells Dylan to be ready for the magician's next performance in New Orleans. When the agents learn that the next scheduled performance will be in New Orleans, they arrange a flight there. Arthur Tressler visits Thaddeus as he prepares for his next video and tries to bribe him into keeping out of the four horsemen's ascent to stardom. Thaddeus refuses once more, and Arthur threatens to ruin the ex-magician. Arthur's illustration of the threat, on the other hand, has Thaddeus advising him to be cautious, since it may be Arthur who is wrecked. The Four Horsemen's premiere in New Orleans is quickly sold out. The agents, as well as Thaddeus, attend the performance. The four perform a number of feats once more, including making a rabbit appear to vanish in a box. Another ruse was to hypnotize audience members and instruct them to transform into football players and tackle the person when they heard the trigger word, freeze. At the finale, they welcome Arthur Tressler on stage. He believes they are honoring him once more, but they bring out a huge check revealing his bank balance of $144 million. Then they inform the audience that Tressler's insurance business defrauded them. They shine a light on Tressler's massive check and the amount begins to decrease. They ask the audience to check their personal balances, and one by one, Tressler understands he has lost millions and begins to move towards the four of them, only to discover that his ankle has been shackled to the stage. The joyous yells of audience members who have received deposit notices from their banks cause chaos. Dylan rushes onto the stage to interrupt the four horsemen and yells, "Freeze!" They then flee with the assistance of the hypnotized group. Alma, seeing him defenseless and terrified, leads her to hesitate. The cops pursue the magicians through the streets but are eventually duped. Alma informs him about the rumors of a magician's secret club named the Eye. Dylan blames her for letting Daniel escape. They were a band of magicians who, like Robin Hood, stole from the affluent and gave to the needy, relying on illusions and tremendous leaps of faith or even mindless obedience. Tressler meets with Thaddeus and hires him to humiliate them publicly. Wanting to get even with the four magicians, the Four Horsemen's final scheduled performance in New York is followed by the agents. They locate where the group was hiding and proceed to their flat. When they get ready for their show, the other three leave Jack behind to finish up some loose ends. Jack uses his quickness with the hands. He uses his own jacket to tie up one agent, and momentarily blinds Dylan while slowing him down with card tosses. Jack flees in a stolen FBI car after Dylan pursues him down. Alma pulls up alongside Dylan. Jack's car tips over and catches fire near the bridge where the chase comes to an end. Jack is being held captive by flames, and Dylan tries to release him. As the automobile catches fire, another agent pulls Dylan back. Dylan is upset about Jack. When Dylan receives a call from Thaddeus, revealing that the magician's assistant is actually in charge at a magic show, Dylan is perplexed and even more angry to find that the case has been turned over to another agency. The other three horsemen upload an internet video in which they grieve Jack's death but vow to finish their final performance in New York. Dylan and Alma learn from the files of Jack that the safe is being monitored by FBI team. The team rushes to the location of the safe, only to discover it empty. Another FBI agent had been hypnotized into providing directions for the safe's transportation. The squad follows the safe to its destination, only to run into Thaddeus. Thaddeus instructs them to open the safe. The four horsemen have outwitted them again more, as they discover just balloons within the safe. Dylan is now certain that there is a fifth member of the squad, possibly Thaddeus. The final performance will take place at 5 points. Agents attempts to apprehend the four horsemen, but the three escape using holograms and dummies. Dylan is urged by Alma to follow her gut feeling to the opposing rooftop. The three can then be seen on a rooftop with Dylan and Alma. The three waved the spectators, running off to the side, appearing to transform into falling money. While everyone works to assemble as much as they can, the crowd roars with excitement. Upon realizing that the case appeared to be over, Alma and Dylan kiss. Thaddeus' SUV overflowing in abundance of money from the stolen safe. The FBI arrives and arrests Thaddeus for his involvement in the plot. The guards open the cell, and Thaddeus sneers, "I've been framed." The guards lock the cell and depart as Dylan enters and says, "I've got it from here." Dylan claims that Thaddeus has run out of tricks, but for laughs, he continues to listen to Thaddeus. Then Thaddeus describes how the horsemen managed to rob the safe. The magicians came back to open the safe when the agents noticed the vacant room and fled. Similar to the rabbit trick, the safe was never taken out. Instead, they created the illusion by using a huge angled mirror. It's likely a setup car with a cadaver dummy was switched for Jack's accident. After the explosion, they managed to flee unnoticed. Dylan was the genius behind the entire operation. He suddenly realizes that the fifth horseman was not him or Alma, but Dylan. He departs to rejoin the four horsemen. The four horsemen meet up at the park. They open the door using their cards. Dylan then steps out and reveals himself to the four and invites them to join the Eye. They accept. Welcome to the Eye. Thank you for watching. Click the subscribe button and notification bell to watch more videos like this.